Hey now, from the Splash studio that is my converted home office and streaming live to audiences around the world, this is How to Make Your Virtual Events Fun and Interactive. I am your co-host, Zach Napolitano, a product marketing director here at Splash, and joining me today is a dear friend, senior solutions consultant and product expert, Faisal Mawani. Faisal, how are you today?
Hey, how's it going, Zach? I'm doing well. Honestly, a little bit nervous. This is the first time I think we're both producing and co-hosting a live stream at the same time. But that being said, happy to be here with you today and share some cool use cases and new technologies with everybody tuning in.
Yeah, thank you, Faisal. I'm excited too, and we got this. And thank all of you for joining us this 14th day of January for our first major webinar of 2021. Before we get into our agenda, let's run through a few call outs about today's presentation. First, let us begin with the end in mind. We are giving away gift cards for free coffee, tea, espresso, other hot or cold beverages to the first 10 or so people who get a 100% score on our webinar quiz. Don't worry, it's easy, and I'll be giving you the answers throughout. I think the first question asks what Faisal and I's names are, so you're well on your way. How do you take the quiz, though? We'll reveal it at the end of the webinar today. We'll pass you the URL, so make sure you stick around. Hashtag gamification. Next up, the virtual experience today has been designed for your viewing pleasure and avid participation. Think of this as your virtual venue or private viewing room. So the video feed itself is running through Vimeo, but it's powered by an innovative virtual broadcasting partner called Social Life, which we'll be teaching you about today. Now, I should have mentioned the full guest experience is built and powered by Splash's virtual event page technology. That's also a quiz answer. So yeah, keep an eye on that. And then to the right of the video is an interactive tool called Slido. You may have heard of these guys. They were recently acquired by a little company called Cisco, and they've been used for more virtual events than Faisal and I can count, and for good reason. You'll use Slido to answer our live polls, participate in the word cloud activity later, and ask us questions in the Q&A tab. You could also use the ideas to chat with others and post comments and feedback and stuff like that. Speaking of polls, if you haven't already, we invite you to participate or check out the results of our first poll of the day in Slido. And the question we're asking, not including this one, how much have you seen virtual events improve since March of 2020? My guess, I haven't looked at the results yet, is people selected either a lot or gradually. Okay, so check out those results. I'll take a peek in a moment. As for your questions, we have saved plenty of time at the end for Q&A, so feel free to submit your questions in Slido using the Q&A widget. Thank you to everyone who submitted your questions in advance. We will get to those. Okay, let's dive into the agenda real quick. So we will kick things off by sharing themes and tactics from the best, most fun, most engaging virtual events we attended in 2020 and early 2021. Then we'll talk about Splash's virtual solution briefly, both what it is and how it allows you to find the right recipe of tools for engaging your audience. Then we'll introduce you to some of our favorite audience engagement tools. We call these the special sauce, and what they are, why they're great, and how easy they are to plug into Splash. And to bring that into full clarity, we'll then demo how fast and easy it is to create a virtual event experience like the one you're viewing today. Lots of different options and permutations for creating fun and interaction. And as mentioned, Q&A at the end. So use Slido and hit us up early and often. Okay, so what I am about to tell everybody isn't a surprise. The world changed in 2020, right at the beginning too. As early as March 1st, we witnessed on the Splash platform a 450% increase in virtual events hosted, and we have not looked back since. We have seen parabolic increases in virtual event RSVPs and email invitations sent to virtual events. Again, no surprise, in-person events were canceled, hybrid even became taboo. So what did we all do? Webinars, right? A lot of webinars. And listen, in my humble opinion, this was smart business. It was the best available option. And webinars work. In some ways, virtual actually helped all of us expand our audiences. On average, with Splash, virtual events get 73% more RCPs than in-person ones. User group programs and meetup programs on Splash have exploded during this time. But here's the challenge, right? Attending a webinar once in a while is pretty fun. Done well, they can accomplish a lot of what an in-person event seeks to do. But today, after 10 plus months of webinars on repeat, how the heck do you keep an audience engaged? It's hard, even if you have good content or speakers that look like Faisal with the jawline of a matinee idol. It's tough, right? What became apparent, again, really quickly, it doesn't matter if the event is in person or online, a guest experience that is fun, interactive, and memorable is pretty much everything. In a recent survey with just under 3,000 respondents, Markletic found 49% of marketers see audience engagement as the biggest contributing factor to having a successful virtual event. So we at Splash, what have we been doing? Well, we work with lots of events people and we attend a lot of virtual events. So we've been keeping tabs on all the latest innovation and tactics, trying to identify what is that crucial difference between a webinar and a virtual event. Faisal, you are one of the most prolific attenders, is that a word, of virtual events that I know. What have you been seeing in the field from our clients who, in my opinion, have been crushing it lately?
Yeah, Zach, I mean, that's kind of the crux of my role here at Splash, right? Trying to see what tools we can plug and play and what works well with Splash. And I mean, that being said, like you mentioned, I've seen quite a different breadth of combinations of streams and widgets and tools paired up together within the Splash virtual event page like you guys are actually using now. So I think with that, let's jump in. Polling, pretty obvious one here, but it is one of the simplest ways to foster engagement with an audience. Everyone on the stream so far, I think, has interacted or participated in our poll that we had live. You can see it's just an easy way to get the crowd engaged, share the results, and with the ability to push polls live at certain times, which you'll see in a few minutes here, I think it really creates and fosters a much more catered experience. And these days, this can easily be achieved through third-party tools like Slido, which you're using, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a bit, or natively through some other tools that you may be using like Vimeo or Zoom. Next, we have the visual component. I think more so than ever, it's all about captivating a distracted audience these days. And one of the best ways to do that is via design. I can argue that a lot of people on this call probably agree with me. But for those of you who may not think it's as important or don't see the value, just really think of it as that blank canvas, right? You have all of the eyes, all of the attention on whatever content you're presenting, whether that's slides, maybe it's video or pre-recorded content. It's worth spending the money or the time on a good template that you can rinse and repeat for a lot of events. And I'm lucky enough to have Zach as my designer, so I didn't have to spend too much time editing our keynote, but I do think it looks pretty good.
You think I did a good job, Faisal?
I think you did. It's taken you a few years in that role, but I think you got the hang of it now.
Thank you.
Third, videos. I personally think this is one of the easiest wins to take advantage of these days, whether that's embedding pre-recorded content like a demo into your live stream, whether that's even recording the full live stream and presenting it as a semi-live event to just kind of take away that anxiety or that stress out of a live stream. It's worth taking advantage of that video content. Disclaimer, we are fully live today. We do not have any pre-recorded content, and that's half the reason why I'm nervous, but hopefully it goes well. Another kind of interesting fact, our most attended event at Splash this year was the debut of our virtual event makeover webcast series, which was a combination of live stream where we debuted on-demand content in a live setting. So really making it feel like that live stream, but from the host perspective, taking all the effort out and making that a rinse and repeat style event. Another trend we're noticing is movie and TV premieres. They seem to be blowing up these days on the virtual event landscape. We saw a client recently host a Hulu viewing party coupled with a Slido Q&A widget. And I mean, it's my job to know what tools plug into Splash, like I mentioned earlier. And I honestly did not even know Hulu was an option until recently. So to sum it up, I mean, using tools like Social Live, again, which we'll talk a bit more about in a bit, it is extremely simple to produce high quality broadcasts with no experience. And I think Zach and I are great examples of that. Then you have gamification. I would argue that this is definitely something we're all as a community still exploring a bit, but I think it is where you could take the most risks and try out a lot of new stuff. Similar to us on kind of the smaller scale, right? You can host some kind of giveaway, whether that's a product or service or another incentive like a Starbucks style gift card. Couple that with some kind of friendly competition like a quiz. Here at Splash, a lot of our internal events, we like to do product-based trivia, and we use Kahoots to power that. So another fun tool that you can maybe leverage. And then on the larger scale, or for more ambitious events, we've seen hosts actually put the audience into avatar-based simulations of some sort, both 2D, 3D, having some kind of virtual reality component to that. But it's worth exploring. One of my favorite tools is Kumo Space, which is a free simulation tool that I've been playing around with recently. Next, you got multiple speakers. I think presenting with an additional host or a panel of some sort just keeps the event more casual, less of a monologue. The ability to have that natural dialogue just gives you that more of that real event feel to it. And I would argue the casualness of an event, and again, Zach, I don't know if that's a word, but the casualness of this event is really what keeps me engaged personally. That being said, I'm sure we could all sit here for 30 minutes and comfortably listen to Zach talk to us about leveling up our events, but hopefully I'm adding some spice to it. And then last, but definitely not least, of course, we had to include Q&A and chat in here. Really, if nothing else, just take advantage of these two features. It is extremely simple to activate these, whether you're using a tool like Slido or whether you're using one of those native Q&A widgets like a Vimeo or a Zoom tool. Just give your audience a way to interact and a way to engage. Another tip is if you're running a slightly larger event, or even if you just want to take out some of the stress out of a live stream, consider nominating a colleague to act as the dedicated moderator for chat and QA, whether they're just responding to those questions, to those comments, or whether they're making the host aware of some important questions coming in to address to the entire audience. So nothing too crazy here, but I did want to share a few of these trends and high level just guidelines with you. And Zach, I'll kick it back to you on that.
Yeah. Thank you, Faisal. Well said. And this is just a sampling of what we see organizations do to make their virtual events more interesting. So what are the most innovative tactics we've seen, you've seen used for virtual events? Maybe they're the most outlandish or exciting or compelling. I think people have been answering the question and blowing up our little word cloud activity. So I'll read some of these off. The word Zach is there. A couple fans, pretty cool. Virtual event page, platform, Zoom, Slido, Vimeo, live stream, organic conversations, chatbots. I think some people are trolling us in here a little bit too. I won't touch on those. Do we have any echo going on? I don't know. Someone put echo in there, but thank you for participating in that. Those are awesome. And let me launch our last poll, which is, of this list of virtual tactics, which have you or your team employed successfully so far? Curious what everybody's been doing. All right. So audience fun and interaction is the reason we're here today. But I would definitely be remiss if I didn't note the 4 key themes among just the best companies we've observed this year at delivering high impact virtual events, not just including the actual fun and interaction of the feed itself. So the first is beautiful on-brand event marketing. So a consistent, cohesive experience from the registration through the emails to the live stream itself. Next is data. So integrated data that empowers you to collect registration information and act on it. Some of the best programs we've seen use guest check-in and check-out times to personalize follow-up communication. And for most of our customers, having this check-in information in their systems of record, their CRM, their marketing tech platforms is absolutely imperative. Third is scale. The way I like to put it is if you burn all the calories of setting up that beautiful registration page, your compliant forms, your integrations, your testing things, your embedding things, your troubleshooting, you don't want to have to do it all over again the next time you do a virtual event. You need a platform that enables you to scale so your whole team can unlock the power of virtual. Finally, the reason we're here, engagement, aka the special sauce, which is what we're going to be diving even deeper into with our demonstration. The important thing I want to call out here is the engagement tools you select should be easy enough and flexible enough so they can scale with your program. What you're going to see in Faisal's demo today is the ability to plug and play these with a simple copy and paste. Absolutely paramount. So those are the keys that we've seen. And of course, you need technology to facilitate this. So from the Splash end, you're viewing with today, and the platform that we offer is called the virtual event page. This allows you to embed your system of choice for virtual and your audience engagement tools into that on-brand gated viewing experience. This is not just beautiful place to view, but it's also data driven. Everybody who checks into your event is synced to your guest list and all of your key systems. Now, this doesn't just do the viewing experience, it's your event registration site, getting people excited beforehand, displaying the key information. It is your email communication, your reminders, your follow-ups, and the distribution of your personal viewing link. From there, it's your day of countdown screen when someone arrives to your virtual event. It's the check-in screen that allows someone to check in easily, right? And then, of course, it is the viewing experience with your feed and your engagement tools. And then for security purposes, it's that link use screen. Hey, somebody shared this link. You need to register if you want to view so that the host knows who is actually on. It's all of those steps in the attendee journey. Okay, so moving ahead, Faisal, that's the Splash aspect. And probably the key to Splash is the flexibility, the ability to use the platform that works best for the event you're trying to do. And so that you can create the experience and not like kind of shoehorn every tech into the same event, which can create some friction sometimes. So can you walk us through this slide that shows us both virtual platforms and some of that special sauce that we're diving into today?
Yeah. I'll start, Zach, by saying by no means is this an exhaustive list. This is really a list of technologies and tools we've seen most commonly and most effectively plugged into Splash. So up top from the actual virtual platform, of course, you have some of the big names, right? Zoom, Vimeo, which we've been talking about. You have BlueJeans that has embedded capabilities. When it comes to live content, of course, LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, Brightcove is another cool video host and platform that lets you do some pretty innovative things in terms of virtual events and breakout sessions, if you will. And then more on the engagement side, we most often see things like Slido. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about them as a partner in just a few minutes here. Similar to Slido, you have tools like Pigeonhole. On the slightly lower scale or smaller scale, if you just were interested in chat embeds, you have things like Chatroll. Twitch has a chat client, which is also a virtual platform, arena.im. So you'll start to see as time progresses and as a lot of these virtual platforms up their offering and expand their offering, they're going to start to be kind of cross-functional, right? A lot of Zoom or Vimeo users will natively take advantage of Zoom or Vimeo's Q&A and polling. That being said, we still do see a lot of people couple tools like Slido with Zoom just because they're much more efficient than Zoom's slightly less robust engagement tools.
Yeah, well said, Faisal. So those are a bunch of the options. Now let's kind of walk through two of our main focuses today, which are Social Live, and Slido. Those are the ones we're using for today's broadcast. So we'll spotlight them quickly here, and then let's hop into a demo of how to set all this stuff up in Splash.
Perfect. Sounds great. So yeah, like Zach mentioned, Social Live powering the video and layout feeds here, and then Slido powering the engagement tools. Just as a preface, I'll briefly highlight some of my favorite features within these two tools. And by no means is this an exhaustive demo, but we are more than happy to facilitate any further conversations as needed. And we'll share some information on that in the Ideas tab as we go along. So jumping into it, I'm going to start with Slido here. So clearly you've kind of interacted with it on the right side of the screen. I know most of the audience members have engaged, but Slido is a really simple and easy to use Q&A and polling platform for meetings and events. It really allows your event organizers to crowdsource top questions to drive meaningful conversations, engage participants with live polls, and then capture all of that valuable event data to act on it after. I think one of my favorite features of Slido, and maybe not specifically a feature, but is really just the ease of use, both from the host and the attendee point of views. I haven't seen any attendees really get confused when using Slido. Everyone's been able to really jump into the polls, interact, ask their questions as needed. And I think that's incredibly important, right? Attendee engagement can only really be facilitated if you're giving the attendees the tools that they need. And then same thing on the host, right? If you want to activate some polling or quizzes or whatever it might be, it makes it that much simpler for the host to just add this engagement layer onto their event. Don't give the host something else to be worried about when they're worried about content in the live stream. And I think that vision really goes hand in hand with Splash's vision to easily host meaningful events. And then that, coupled with the flexibility of the tool, really lets you be really creative when it comes to audience engagement. In this event, you guys have seen the Q&A tab, the Ideas tab to just foster some communication, and the polls. What you're not seeing in today's event is some of the quizzes, maybe the surveys that we could ask, the rating systems that we can implement via Slido. So definitely a really cool tool. And if you're curious, we're more than happy to facilitate some conversations there.
Nice. Faisal, let's hit Social Live. We have about 6 or 7 minutes left, so quick demo, and then we'll answer some questions.
Alrighty, let's jump into it. Social Live, again, maybe I won't spend too much time here, but really is the video creation and live streaming platform that enables you to produce high-quality broadcasts. I think most importantly, enabling you to produce those high-quality broadcasts with the resources that you already have, both the tech resources and the personnel resources. And what that means is converting your iPhone into a high-quality video stream, no need for any kind of fancy camera. And then same thing on the flip side. Zach and I are both hosting via Social Live without any production background behind us. And it's a tool that really makes it easy to host a very professional broadcast. With that, on this next slide, I just want to give you a kind of visual for the Social Live backend. And this is the portal that I'm actually in right now. I've made this a blank canvas just so you get a feel for it. But up top, you have timeline, kind of order of operations of your live stream. On the left, you'd have all your live sources. So in my end, it's a screen share plus a video feed for Zach and myself. And then I think the coolest feature of Slido is the predefined layouts that I'm scrolling through here. You can see we're using kind of the two to the left layout. But as we go through Q&A, I'll play with the layout so you can kind of see how easy it is to shift that view from the Social Live aspect and really give your streams that professional feel to it. So with that, I'm going to hop into a demo. I do need to just switch my screen share here. So we'll go live with a static background for just a second here. Switching to the correct tab, and I'm going to go ahead and reshare my screen. And let's send that live. Zach, on your end, is that looking good?
Looks great, Faisal.
Perfect. So here we have a demo event, right? Just for the sake of this meeting, nothing is really configured on this event. So we're going to hop into the virtual event page specifically. I'm going to expand this view a little bit here. So first off, let's see, right? We have our embed filter, but this background is a little boring in my opinion. Let's go ahead and change that. Let's go ahead and upload an image. In my instance, I'm going to use our integration with Unsplash for some stock photo. We'll host a cyber event. We'll add this into the background. May or may not look somewhat similar based on the examples we shared. And I'm going to start by embedding a live event here. So if we come in to add our embed code, we'll come into our embed options, and we're going to start with a Vimeo event. So this is just a video ID that I had copy pasted ahead of time. You'll see we have this chat functionality. We'll go ahead and leave that unchecked for now. Saving those changes pushes our event live, Cyber Live 2021, really that simple. If I come back in here, enable that live chat and save again, now we have that Vimeo live chat. Zach's in there interacting with us already. And really, I mean, going live with a Vimeo event is that simple. And I think one key thing to note is Social Live and tools like that can push live through video hosts like Vimeo. And that's actually what we're doing today. For the sake of time, I'll quickly show you just a Zoom embed here. This is the meeting ID to my personal Zoom meeting room. I'm going to go ahead and enable chat. We'll save those changes. And you can see just like that, I have Zoom embedded. The join now is just kind of robo capture, make sure the attendees that are joining are true attendees. But the Zoom experience behind this gate really looks exactly like you're used to.
So Faisal, if I'm understanding correctly, as long as you have either your platform's embed code or the event or meeting ID, that's all you need to plug it in. There's no coding for setup or designing this.
Exactly correct. You'll see we have this custom embed here that's iframe codes, but really don't even let this scare you. Any major tool like YouTube, Vimeo, Twitch, and 100 other platforms will generate these codes for you, and it is a simple copy paste. And I want to stress that you do not need an IT professional to get these codes into Splash. And these native systems like Zoom and Vimeo will continue to grow as the Splash virtual event page evolves. And Zach, I know we're running a little short on time, so I'm going to cut my demo a little short there. I want to make sure we do have some time for Q&A. So let's go ahead and jump back into the live stream. I've got a new page going live just now, and Zach, I'll kick it to you to maybe take a look at Slido for us.
Yeah, and since we started a minute or two after the top of the hour, we can go a little over. And if you want to stick around for overtime, we'll go 5 or so minutes afterwards. Some really good questions that came in, actually, Faisal. One question was, is the last one from Anonymous, is Social Live embedded directly on the page, or do you need it to stream through YouTube or Vimeo to get the stream on the Splash page?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. And the good thing about Social Live is, number one, they do have their own player. So if you wanted to directly embed Social Live, that is 100% an option. But number two, they have turnkey integrations with almost every major video host. So we stream through Vimeo. That was literally done in a matter of 2 minutes. You could do that via Twitch, YouTube, any of the major video hosts. But yeah, they do have their own player as well.
Nice. Here's another good one. I could take this from Bami. Live stream link question. Once the link has been used in Splash, people need to re-register with a new email. Is this scenario only applies once check-in opens? So the way this works is once that personal access link is used by one user, they're good. They're in the virtual event. They're viewing. Now, if they share that link with somebody else who's opening it from a different browser, that new person would then be directed to register for the event, and then they'd receive their own virtual link so they can attend the event and check themselves in. Eduardo asks, is the polls a new integration? Yeah, kind of, Eduardo. So in the recent months, we added the ability to add a secondary embed to the virtual event page, which makes adding a poll tool like Slido work just great. Otherwise, like Zoom webinars, for example, in your primary embed, you could just run polls out of that if that's what you're doing best. Anonymous asked, Zach, what's the name of your mic? I am using a Yeti Blue. Hopefully it sounds good. Faisal, what chatbots can you use with Splash, and are they any you recommend?
Yeah, I guess taking it a step back, I think maybe that's a shot at the mic I'm using compared to Zach's quality. I'm using the MacBook Pro mic, so interesting. Chatbot wise, this is something I have been exploring. At the current state, most chatbots require a JavaScript code to be implemented. In our virtual event page, we are not currently surfacing the ability to implement any JavaScript for security reasons. So stay tuned. It's something that we are definitely looking into. But in the meantime, there are more group chat style widgets that you can implement as opposed to the chat bots. But it is something we're definitely exploring.
Nice, Faisal. Bami asked another question. If in case Splash outage during the live stream, do you have any recommended backup plans? So some things I recommend you could see on the virtual event page for people with trouble viewing. I link out to either Zoom or Vimeo or the platform I'm using so they can check that out natively. That's helpful if they're having like audio issues or something too. Additionally, if you really want to be extra safe, you can include the direct link in your reminder emails, like, having difficulty, join us directly on Zoom using this link. So having like a secondary fallback in that communication. Faisal, one question here from Alice. Could we integrate a Brightcove video to act as a Simulive webinar and run Q&A and poll there? And then she has another question, which I'll read you in a moment.
Alice, I feel like you're almost a plant in our Q&A, setting us up for these great questions. But the answer is yes. And I actually recently just did quite a lot of work with Brightcove. So they are another official partner of ours. We're still getting that partnership fully ramped up, but highly encourage you to reach out to our director of partnerships, and he can get a call on the books for us. And I'm more than happy to kind of demo you what we've done to Brightcove specifically. And again, we'll share that contact information in a minute here.
Awesome. And I think this will be the last question we take for today. Also from Alice, she uses WebEx. Can we integrate WebEx into the Splash virtual event page platform?
Alice, another great question. As it stands today, WebEx does not have an embedded capability. To give you an idea, Zoom has built an SDK that allows developers to work with it to get it embedded. That functionality just does not exist for tools like Microsoft Teams, WebEx, GoToWebinar at the current state. But potentially that's something that we will see in the future. And I know Slido has recently become part of the Cisco family, so maybe it's something they can help us out on with as well.
Yeah, that would be great. So thank you to everybody who submitted questions and comments and the ideas. If you have any questions that weren't answered today and you want to hear from us, just email me, zach@splashthat.com. I will get back to you. That's ZACH, because I would love to help you out. But otherwise, that will do it for today. So to learn more about how to begin using Slido or Socialive or any of the other partners that we showed you today, you can contact Scott from our partnership team. His email address is on your screen. Now, the big reveal: to participate in our webinar quiz and earn that Starbucks gift card, head to splash-coffee.splashthat.com. I'll leave that up there for you. Go there, earn your coffee. The quiz questions are incredibly easy, and there's only 3 of them. And most importantly, to request a personal demo with unlimited Q&A, head to splashthat.com/demo. Again, participate in the coffee quiz at splash-coffee.splashthat.com. Until next time, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I am afraid for now this is goodbye. On behalf of Faisal and the entire Splash team, this is Zach saying mahalo.